Hi everyone, Julie here from the Little Shop of Nerds, and I'm here with
Mike. What's up, yo?
So last week's hint was it was Runaway.
She's a runaway.
So today we are talking about the 2021 movie Ride or Die.
Yes. Now this movie is the last month that This movie is a Pride movie, sort of, which means it finishes up with our Pride Month movie selection. Now, if you haven't noticed the trend, we started with gay men, then lesbians, then gay men, then lesbians. So it's a trend.
Yeah, so we will go ahead and before we start, here's Noelle. Noelle is here to say hi.
Trying to get some
snacks. Hi, Noelle.
Trying to steal some snacks.
She's trying to get some catnip that we have here. Because she's a druggie. She's addicted to this stuff. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get into the movie. So, it starts off with, we see a girl get out of a taxi, and this girl's name is Ray. So Ray goes down into, it looks like some sort of underground club or bar or something, and she seems like she's looking for someone. So she finds like a nice quiet spot, and she goes down, and she sees this guy sitting down next to her. Tells the bartender that she wants a couple shots of tequila and to send one to the guy. They're talking, and next thing you know, they're in the taxi together, going back to his place.
Yeah, and he's like, you wanted to do a regular love hotel.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is a Japanese movie, so expect everything you hear from anime, manga, whatever. Mm-hmm. Or their typical documentary about Japan.
Yeah.
And they go back to the house. He asks why, because, some kind of kink thing, because your wife lives there or something.
Yeah, she said that the sex is better because your wife lives there. And so they go, and it looks like they went into like some sort of like guest bedroom or whatever. And it just starts off, they're getting it on. And then she pulls a scalpel out of her bag and she stabs him in the neck. Now, and I was eating dinner.
Whoops.
So, I kind of didn't want to see a whole lot of blood while I was trying to eat my dinner.
Oh, yeah, whoops, I forgot.
So, she stabs him in the neck, he pulls it out, which, guys, if you get stabbed, never pull it out of you, because you'll just bleed out faster. It is better if you just leave whatever stabbed you in your body, because that will keep you from bleeding out. Only the people that, professionals or the only, medical staff are the only ones who know, who can safely remove the blade or stick or whatever you have in your body safely, because then they're at least able to keep you from bleeding out.
That, and just don't stab your neck.
I mean, don't stab anything. But if you do get stabbed, just don't remove it and go straight to the emergency room.
Well,
for them to remove it.
After that, Ray crashed into the glass table and something.
It was a bunch of, it looked like they had been drinking wine.
And she takes a shard wine glass, slit his throat, and I'm like,
there was a lot of blood.
And after that, she calls. Well, there was like a flashback before, she calls. What it was, she has this. You see Ray, she's like a plastic surgeon. Sort of, I think.
She's a cosmetic surgeon.
Cosmetic surgeon. She's at her mother's grave. They're doing the typical respect with her brother, father, and everything. Her nieces, nephews. She goes back home to her girlfriend.
Because it's her girlfriend's birthday.
Mm-hmm. And she gets a call from a girl she loved a long time ago, but never loved her back. Because she kept saying she was straight, but...
Yeah, so, she asked if they could meet, and the girl her name is, we're just going to go by her last name because I can't really pronounce her first name. So her last name is Shinoda. So Shinoda says that she, wanted to see her, but then she heard Ray's girlfriend calling for her. It's like, oh, you must be busy. And then Ray's like, no, I'll go. So she went over to her house, and she gets naked, or half naked. She still had her panties on, but her whole body was just covered in bruises from her husband. And then you see, like, snippets of the way that he just, like, beat her and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, that is the reason why Ray killed her husband. Killed Shinoda's husband, because she was getting beaten by her husband, and Ray is in love with this girl. Has been since they were in high school.
And they had a plan. They did what they did. Ray killed him, and they go to a hotel. Or was it her place? I can't remember.
No, I think they went to a hotel. They went to a hotel, and then she was cleaning herself off of all the blood, and there was a lot of blood. And, which Japanese movies are kind of known for their overuse of blood, I think. But there was definitely a lot, and she's, upset because now she has killed a man, and Shinoda is just kind of like, you did it to protect me, type of thing.
Yeah, and
so then they start to go on the run.
Head to their hometown. I think,
They went to the place where Shinoda used to live when they were in school. And she talked about how I think she used to sell her body for money.
That, and she had an abusive father, which continued with abusive from her husband.
And then even
there goes Chewie.
Even Chewie, even with even at one point Ray abused or smacked her around.
Well, I think that was because she said she called the what's her name?
Shinoda.
Shinoda said she called the police, and you get the point.
Yeah. So, somebody showed up. It was sushi. They were eating. So the next morning, they are they were leaving, I think, to go somewhere, I think. And the cops have found the car that they were driving. They steal some guy's bike, and they drive off with it. And then they end up into, like, this little tiny, like, this other town, where they run into a taxi driver. Also, at this point, Ray has seen herself, or about her, on the newspaper where they're trying to find her, because she killed this man. So this taxi driver offers to help them. Takes them to, I think, like a train station. And Ray does admit that they killed a man, but he just kind of thought that
it was a joke.
That they were joking, or she was joking. So it looks like she was about to kill Ray, or Shinoda. Shinoda lay down on a bench to sleep. She had reached out to wrap her arms around Shinoda's neck, and then the taxi driver, came back, and he basically coerces Ray into sleeping with him in his car. Now, they've been drinking, so dubious consent right there. Don't ever hook up or anything while you are drinking.
Don't do it.
Like, if you're buzzed or if you're tipsy or drunk, don't do it. If you have, like, one drink, yeah. But then once you start, like, not remembering things, no. Just don't, okay?
Warning.
Yeah, so they end up getting on a train, and they go to Ray's parents' house.
Like a summer house.
Yeah, Ray is rich, which we find out, which there is a flashback. I can't remember exactly where the flashback is, but it's about how they met, or no, it was so they were hanging out together, or she saw her running. No, it was at it was at Shinoda's old house. She was watching Ray run, or Ray was watching Shinoda run. She was drawing pictures of her. Everybody knew that she was a lesbian. She stole some shoes. Ray paid for it, and then Ray says, "Hey, I will buy you," like, cause she got injured, so she couldn't do her. She was at that school on a scholarship, and then she's like, "I will buy your last few years of school or whatever. And if you don't pay me back within 5 years, you have to have sex with me."
And she gets married to a rich guy, pays her back, and
Before 5 years are up.
And we go through the house. Her brother comes. Now, when you see her brother, and I'm like, and once you see him, you see his hair is like almost like blonde, almost blonde bleached.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like almost blonde, and I'm like, and how he's dressed, and I'm like, wow, too much like those bad boys from anime, and I'm like,
yeah. So, they get caught there, and her brother, Ray's brother, does convince them to turn themselves in. But then they decide not to. They try to run off together. They jump out the window, take their car, and then they go to, like, this beach. And they go to this little shack. And they finally sleep with each other for the first time.
And warning, you do see Bush.
Yeah, you see a lot of things in this movie. So then they talked about how the first time that they met was in art class. And, it was just, they decided that they were just, I think, going to keep running. So they stopped someplace to get gas, and the cops, which I think Ray had actually called the cops.
Ray called the cops. She turned herself in. She's pretty much taken the fall for it, and that's all she wrote, pretty much.
Yeah, and that's how it ended. To be completely honest, I was actually expecting them to. I was expecting the movie to end with them killing themselves. Kind of like Thelma and Louise type thing.
Well, in my opinion, it doesn't end on a high note, but it ends on a flat note. But the whole movie in general is not bad, but there's times I just think, I'm like, you're on the run. Shouldn't you be low key? Or
I mean, it's a Japanese movie.
Even Japanese production would know, be like, hey, should we just say they need to be low key?
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's Ride or Die. It wasn't a bad movie.
I give it like a 6.
I probably would give it a 6 too. Yeah.
It was really slow too.
I mean,
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was that slow. The most excitement is definitely there at the beginning where she kills the man. So yeah, that's Ride or Die. It's on Netflix if you guys want to give it a watch. It does come in dub. So if you guys don't want to read or can't read for some reason, can't keep up, it is dubbed, and it is dubbed by some of it has a few names that I saw that are big names now with like voice acting. So like Kaiji Tang was in it. The Todd Haberkorn, and then the dude that voices Jin Woo, which I think he also voices Nezuko in Demon Slayer. So there were a few big names that I noticed that I saw.
I thought Nezuko's voice was voiced by a woman.
Zenitsu, I mean. Not
Nezuko-chan!
Yeah, Zenitsu. So, I actually picked up Kaiji Tang's voice as the art teacher. I can pick up. I'm such a fangirl for him that I can pick up his name or his voice anywhere. Like Kaiji Tang, if you ever see this, I love you so freaking much. So yeah, but yeah, so that's Ride or Die. I'm gonna go ahead and give you next week's hint. And next week's hint is Welcome to Earth.
And this will be our 4th of July video.
Yeah, that video will be coming out on the 4th of July. So, look forward to it. And we will see you guys later. Bye.